Pisces officially today. We talked a little bit about that. Oh, actually, it was yesterday. We talked about that in the private subscriber group here on YouTube. So I'll talk a little bit more about that here. That happens until April 9th, Mars in Pisces. So that was very tense having Mars at those later degrees, those last 2 degrees, last 3 degrees actually, in Aquarius, because we had it in a square to Uranus. Did you notice what happened the day that Mars exactly squared Uranus? Did you notice? Have you been watching the news? Things like that happen. We have big triggers and releases of building tension when we have those Mars Uranus days of the year. So, Mars in Pisces, this is a few weeks where we do not have our usual straightforward path to getting things. We meander, we feel our way to the finish line. We don't beat our way there like we do with Mars in elements that it does well in. Hey, Julia, how are you? Uh, yeah, so Casanova wins the day with Mars in Pisces. So the blood moon eclipse, that's tomorrow. It's a full-on lunar eclipse. The Earth gets in the middle of things. Hey, Quarry. Hey, Lunar. And when the Earth gets in the middle of things, that's reality coming between the sun and the moon. That's reality. Reality shine that is having a big effect on this a werewolf moment that we're having in Pisces and Virgo. So this full moon is about at 12 degrees in Virgo, and it is showing us how we need to reorganize. A reset is what it is showing. I'll say that again. A reset is what it is showing. And haven't we heard that word, reset, frequently over the last 10 years? So when we have the moon in Virgo, we are looking at the structure and the regularity of things. The sun is at the north node, trends, world trends in Pisces, the end of it all. And the everything, it's all of us together. And so there is a look at how do we restructure, clean up, and redo, retool, because we have a lot to get back in place. Things get messy in Pisces because there's no organization. Everything is just a big old lump. It's all thrown in there together. We have confusion, disintegration, disorganization. There's two sides to each sign. There's some really, really beautiful things about Pisces. But this isn't a werewolf moment when we have a full moon. And when we have a werewolf moments, we generally aren't struck by everything that's going well. Things are illuminated that we have not seen or understood or completely got. And that's for a reason. Either we didn't want to, we weren't prepared, we're ready now. Maybe we partially or completely saw it before, but we didn't want to act on it. We clean up our personal business at this full moon. And we can see some things that we've been doing in the background or that we've been hiding, even from ourselves. What we know we've been hiding, what we are aware that was not compatible with what we publicly profess to be, or what we are, what commitments we've made in our life, that is more easily shed or let go because we do have the full moon conjunct to the south node. It's harder to forgive ourselves and to let go of things when we realize that we're responsible for it or it's our fault. That can be more complex when we're the only one to blame. And we may have to sit a bit with those things. Those points of self-sabotage, or how we've gone and undid ourselves. Eclipses have a 6-month effect. So it could take up to 6 months for us to really process our werewolf moment, what has come into view. But it is a reorganization and a cleaning up of our internal systems. And it's going to feel good because we get to go through our emotional cupboards and clear them out. We're going to have an emotional garage sale. And we may see that we are not in a healthy situation. Virgo's health. And that could be at home, that could be at work, that could be countrywide. That could be, shh, girls, don't embarrass mommy. They will. But what it is that is toxic within ourselves or in our life, in our environment, we have less and less tolerance for that over the next 6 months. And we will realize that there are some people, situations, conditions, places. Shh, Livy. Shh, come here with mommy. Hold on. Shh, I'm live right now. Do you need me to come up and see the chicken?
We did it. Do you have plain Greek yogurt? Plain Greek yogurt?
Yeah, I do.
You have plain Greek yogurt?
Yeah, plain. I have 2 little things of it.
That's amazing.
You need that for the chicken?
Yeah.
Really? What does that do?
She get her calories.
Oh.
For 7 days.
Oh, interesting.
That's the thing to use. Sit here.
Sorry, we're talking about the sick chicken, my brother. Yeah, you see it on the top, in the back. Yeah.
Thank you.
You got it.
Beautiful.
Is she doing any better?
No.
Oh.
But we did give her,
the
it's gotta
stuff.
have time to work,
Yeah, well, we'll see how she does in the morning.
I know. It's gonna all be about the morning.
I know.
Thanks.
Sorry, guys. We have a chicken that has a condition. He had to come by and get some nutrition for her. So, oh, you know what? I forgot to plug you in. Should be better. Yeah, is that better? I completely forgot to plug you guys in. So over the course of the next months, we just cannot tolerate poisonous situations, people, conditions, and situations. And as the months go by, we extricate ourselves. We can even realize that we live in a toxic culture, a toxic family, a toxic religious environment. What seemed regular to us, because regularity is Virgo, it's what we practice until it's perfect. And what's regular to us, we may realize that, hey, it's regular. It might even meet my definition of normal, but I don't like it, or I don't want it, or it's not good for me, or maybe I do want it, but I realize it's not good for me. So this is the 5th. Is it the, let me look at my notes. I think this is the 5th, right? Yes, in a series of 7. So February of next year is when this set of eclipses is finished. So that will be that last realization about cleaning up, extricating ourselves, looking at habits. Virgo is also a sign of humiliation. And that's something that we're going to have to process, because we do not want to be wrong in Virgo. And with the sun at the North Node, it is showing that there is a trend here of a lot of people seeing things related to power structures, authority, sun stuff. And we're going to have to sit with some feelings of humiliation, shame, having made mistakes regarding what we thought was the case, or who we thought was the case. Because what do full moons do? It shows this, it's a brightness. It shines a light on what is typically internal. So we're going to collectively say a lot of no's to what is depleting, what is unhealthy, and what is clearly self-sabotaging. Hey, Sandra. All right, so we'll take a few questions here. There are a few of you that haven't been around in a couple of days. I've been wondering if you are okay. Hopefully you're on vacation. Do I think it's bad luck to look at the eclipse? No, I do not think it's bad luck at all. But it depends on what the eclipse is about and what is in relation to in your chart. It could be the particular eclipses that you did, have something personal with. You witnessed it, that it was triggering something difficult in your chart. Joelle, do I pay attention to signs in the composite chart? Hardly at all. Hardly ever. It's really just the geometry and the houses that we're looking at in composites, because it's a completely made-up chart. It's a symbolic chart. So I use the composite to show me the points of ease and contention, and I don't pay attention to signs really at all. It is something that you can consider, but it's not the main thing that the composite is for. Julia,
is Mars in the 12th house always weakened, even if it's highly aspected? It's not weakened by behavior, it's weakened by context. The context of a strong or proactive or even aggressive Mars in the 12th house is, it shows that that is where Mars is more prone to show up in our life. We use it more, we employ it more, experience it more in more self-contained environments, behind the scenes, in private places, in meaningful places or spiritual places. We are built for sacred sexuality when we have Mars in the 12th house, especially if it's well aspected. You need somebody to call you. Why do I always meet men who have their Pluto squaring my moon? Those were a funny series of typos, my dear. Because they're probably in a certain age range. And yeah, you need to date either older or younger, because you're running into a certain section of the population that is probably around your age, or you're attracted to older or younger people already. So we can get a different result if we interact with different generation of people, even if just by a couple of years. That would be the first thing that comes to mind, but it also can show, if we're looking beyond just generational attractions, that you have some intensity to heal through, that you are emotionally pulled in to the tractor beam of Pluto for a reason. You're working out something in your attachment system and working through some power issues. Lunar, how do I feel about them happening on the first 7th house axes for Virgo ascendant with the nodes in play? You mean the eclipse in the first 7th house with the nodes in play? I think that's what you mean, right? I'll wait and see if you clarify. I'm just going to answer it the way I think it is, and then if I'm wrong, you'll let me know, right? So if it's in the first 7th, that's going to be me versus you. And that is going to be something that shows relationship reset. So things related to cooperation and assertiveness. Are you too cooperative, or are you too independent? We need to have a bit of both. We need to be choosing ourselves, and we also need to be making appropriate sacrifices and allowances for the usness for others in our life. Lynn, how does the Sun-Neptune conjunction opposite natal moon affect someone? I understand Saturn, but Neptune disturbs me. It is disintegrating. It is going to straighten out your attachment system and what comforts it is that you gravitate towards. Whatever unprocessed, like inappropriate sensitivities, all of that is going to come up. And it has to come up to be processed and felt to be able to heal it. So it's good that Saturn's coming by because that will keep you from getting too delulu about what kind of Neptunian romantical figures show up, which they usually do when Neptune is transiting opposite to our moon. And it doesn't mean that those will always be sexual romantic figures. We can romanticize a variety of figures with that opposition. So Saturn will keep you from being too stupid because he's going to come through and inoculate you first with the hard, cold realities of life. Usually that's not something we're looking forward to, but when Neptune is coming to town and bringing the blinders, this definitely is something that we're looking forward to. So it does make us much more prone, that opposition from transiting Neptune to the moon, to find people, situations, conditions that bring us the kind of comfort and relief that we've always wanted to see, always wanted to have. Mm. Okay, so it's in the 12 trans to the 6th house moon. So the context is going to be a lot of what the eclipse today is talking about, that same outcome. Cleaning up the messy moon. The moon can be a mess for all of us. It's all over the place. Feelings are not rational. And they often don't have any reason that we can point to for being there or being a certain way. And we have to allow for the ebb and flow of unconscious processes and feelings that sometimes we can't control or don't even want. So Saturn's going to do you a solid here. Mm-hmm. Quoni, how strong is the connection between opposing ascendants and synastry? It's excellent. It's excellent. Because if your ascendants are opposing, that means the descendant is conjunct to the ascendant on both sides. Uh-huh. Estebal. Do I take, wait, do I take under consideration out of sign aspects in personal natal chart, and how about in synastry? No, usually not, unless it's extremely close, like a 0 at 29 degrees. Then maybe, but usually no, I do not consider out of sign aspects a thing. Mm-mm. Roxanne. I have a huge stat board exam to get my cosmetology license. I wish you were my neighbor. The morning of the 3rd. So tomorrow, yeah, eclipse in the 2nd house, and too nervous to contemplate this. Should I reschedule? Doesn't sound like it to me. Nope. No, that's perfect for cosmetology. Yep. Does not sound like a problem. Oh, girl Mua, even my new guy is 10 years older than me. So do you mean that, was that related to the attracting Moon Pluto people? So maybe dating younger. it's socially acceptable these days. Sandra, I have my North Node in Leo in the 11th, South Node in Aquarius in the 5th. It's one of the things that puzzles me about my chart. Do I have any tips about it? Well, North Node in Leo in the 11th is cosmic permission to party. And South Node in Aquarius in the 5th is also not the hardest position. You won the Dharma and the Karma contest. That's neither one of those are particularly difficult, and somebody did something to deserve that. So North Node in Leo in the 11th is expressing yourself in the context of an audience, or that's popularity. The Dharma is to be seen and to be appreciated and to have some level of influence. Aquarius in the 5th. So the karma is related to the interesting. It's about not partying alone and letting go of your isolationism and exclusivity, and learning to partner with and hang out and party with others in community. Hey, Shahira. Julia, if my Mars is well aspected by my Sun and Moon, plus by Neptune and Uranus, but Mars opposes Pluto, means I'm secretly a love machine, but I hide it. Mars well aspected by Sun and Moon, plus by Neptune, Uranus, but opposite to Pluto. So you've got a lot of good things going on with Mars, but then you've got a very strong and dominating desire nature. So those other aspects are helping to soften that and bring some cooperation to a typically very horny Mars-Pluto opposition. Shahira, the eclipse is transiting your 8th house. Can I give you some insight into that? So the lights are going out, illumination, and then the lights go out. So we see something and then we go deep in the 8th house. Oh, it's going to be in the context of death anxiety and stress and what you run to, because can seem like your best friend, but it might be your worst enemy. We're looking at addictions. Lost age. Does synastry differ in any way for same-sex relationships? Like two men, is Mars more important? It actually is, because you're looking at two people that when you combine their Mars, it has a more aggressive effect than if you're looking at male, female. Because you're looking at two male sex drives as well. That's also something to consider. There's a great deal, typically a lot more sex in male-to-male relationships because there's more desire. You can get the opposite too. We can get into lesbian bed death in lesbian relationships because we don't have that insistence. We don't have the insistence of the male sex drive there. So both things you want to consider. Do we have in two females couple more of a lighter Mars thing going on, or abundance of Venus, or if it's a male to male couple, if you do have those difficult aspects between Sun and Mars, Mars and Pluto, Sun and Pluto, it does tend to show up more as more conflict than in a male-female relationship, just because of the nature of the temperaments that you're dealing with. Lunar. How would I interpret Mars in the 12th? Double whammy in Synastry. So both people are experiencing Mars in the same context of life. So they will have a lot to relate to in each other, but that is a passive place for Mars to be, and it will increase the passive aggression and sometimes the lack of initiative and fear of failure that both can experience in the 12th. What orbs do I use for transiting eclipses and aspect of personal planets? 5 degrees on either side. Sandro, you will work on the party part. Well, that's what you're used to, is the South Node, the solo sovereignty in Aquarius. You need to get used to the North Node. That's what's not been tried, but it's the way out of the boredom of our ego structure. We really embrace the North Node when we get sick of ourselves. Emilia, any comments on Pluto transits, especially in the 6th house, squaring the sun? So that'll be a long transit. It can transit a house for up to 20 years. It depends on what sign it's in. And going through the 6th, that is going to be a long period of time that you get a hold of your how you handle your daily life, your routines, how we work with others, health, long-term changes to health and habits. Girl Mua, does the Pluto moon square, I'm sorry, I don't want to say your name, because if somebody clips that out or something, it just sounds like really bad for me. Does the Pluto moon square mean I can't have a happy relationship with them? No, it doesn't mean that. It just means that you are working through some trust issues, some fear, things related to the relationship with your mother, how you haven't been, properly cared for. We have some pretty deep emotional wounds with hard aspects from Moon to Pluto, and we want intimacy. We want safety, but we tend to find emotional violence or hurt. We tend to find what's familiar until we don't want it anymore. So yes, you can have a happy relationship. That's your destiny. But we usually have to work through what our parents did to us before we can get there, sweetie. Lunar. What do I think of Sun conjunct Lilith and Juno in Synastry? Both of those are fabulous. Neither one of those you're going to have a problem with, particularly Sun conjunct Lilith. The Lilith person really appreciates that, because the sun shines the light on whatever it's an aspect to in Synastry. And Lilith does not mind doing a striptease. So when Lilith is in a good aspect to the sun or to Mars, it appreciates all of that attention, and the sun is shining all of its conscious willpower onto every nook and cranny because Lilith is shameless. That's why we like her so much. Now, if it's a square in opposition or something else from the sun, that's a different story. That's where we can experience some shame. And then we are not going to put up with that as Lilith. Let's see, Quoni, how strong is the connection between opposing ascendants and synastry? You asked me that one, and now you're going to donate to me, you sweetie. That is very strong, extremely strong. It's one of the best things that we can have in a synastry chart is the ascendant and the descendant conjunct, because it means that the persona of the one person exactly matches what the 7th house person is looking for in context of relationship partner. Nothing to complain about there. You will both see each other as unconsciously see each other or naturally see each other as ideal relationship partner that has a lot of the traits, the behavior, the look, the persona that you've always wanted to see. And we don't have Neptune involved, it sounds like. So it's, like legit compatibility. I'm trying to get down here to the bottom. I don't think I can get to every question, but I'm going to do my best here to get to at least members. Lunar can relate to. Girl Mua. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are drawn to astrology because they have a lot of Pluto. And there's not a lot of systems that can explain to us why we happen to be the family toilet. Because that's what Pluto people are. I know it sounds terrible. Because it is terrible. If you have a lot of Pluto in you, it's because everybody generationally took a dump on you and then left you there to deal with it and to alchemize it and to heal from it. But you also get all the benefit of that. Because once we do heal it, once we alchemize it, that turns into wealth. It turns into generational wealth. And generational wealth is not just money. It's security. It's wisdom. It's emotional maturity. It's self-control. It's passing on the best of yourself. And so everybody who took a crap on you, they don't get to touch anybody that you love or anybody that you decide to be with. Oh, thank you, Coney, for the donation. And you're back. Sandra, I will finish up my Sun Chiron series I'm working right now on my public YouTube channel. I just put the square out, Sun Chiron square out a few minutes ago. And then next I will get to the Moon Chiron series. But Moon conjunct Chiron is usually a fine aspect to have. It can bring a lot of vulnerability and openness. If the Moon person, though, does have a lot of lunar issues, that is something that can be a difficulty for the Chiron person. But most of the time, that actually does create a lot of emotional sharing and openness and vulnerability and healing. If it's a parallel lunar in the synastry chart, then you can go ahead and look at it like a conjunction. It's the same thing. We're just arriving at it at a different way of measuring that relationship. Krish, I have Moon and Jupiter in Sagittarius, both in third, but it doesn't say conjunct. Moon at 16 degrees, Jupiter at 5. Is it in fact not conjunct? It is 1 degree too far to be considered a Ptolemaic conjunction, but I mean, come on, let's not split hairs too much. When the moon or the sun are in a conjunction or an aspect to anything, we can have up to 10 degrees. And they're just not showing you that officially because it's 1 degree beyond. But yeah, most programs will consider a conjunction up to 10 degrees. That sounds like a lot of fun, actually. Moon and Jupiter in Sagittarius in the third house. That is a very gregarious, fun, social, and extroverted, warm, emotional position. Yes. I'm sure you are popular. Oh, you're welcome, Sandra. Quoni, do I use mean or true when it comes to Lilith and the nodes? True. Damon, that Uranus square Mars transit really hit me by surprise. Mars was conjunct my Saturn, square my natal Pluto. Ouch, I got a second degree chemical burn on my hand. Yeah, we can have really bad accidents come up or explosions, things come out of nowhere when we have Mars Uranus stuff. And if Saturn is involved, it can. Can show something where it's like a contained a contained amount of explosion or accident. It doesn't surprise me that it sat on the skin. And usually things like that happen in the workplace as well, if it's involving Saturn. What do I think of planets directly on house cusps? There's little info online. It is, traditionally we actually used to make a big deal about that in the old days, but I don't think that it makes that big of a difference in psychological astrology. Vedic astrology, I do think, puts more weight to that. Like it has more of if it's on the beginning of the cusp, like how do I want to put it, like a spontaneous influence. But if it's on the back end of the cusp, then it's considered anaretic. So it is something that's like more, it vacillates more. It doesn't have as spontaneous an action to it. It goes back and forth, gets all Libra about it. Doesn't know what the hell it wants. So that's what I can say, that's what astrology says, but I don't myself ascribe to it. Somebody from the Netherlands. Hello. I do have a very international audience. It's a lot of fun to get so many different perspectives and have so many different types of friends. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap up for tonight. Oh my God, again, I cannot believe how fast these lives go. It feels like 5 or 10 minutes. All right, guys, I will try to pop in with you tomorrow. Again, what is this, Tuesday? Yeah, this time for me can get late, so I might announce that I am going to go live a little bit earlier. We'll see. I'm trying to stay up late. I am, but I love going to bed at 8 o'clock. And by this time, I just start wearing out. By the time 7 o'clock rolls around, I am so excited because I get to get in bed and watch a documentary or read a book or work on a book and pet my girls. I just get so excited because it's time to go to bed. It's old people stuff. All right, guys, I will check you out tomorrow, and you have a great night. I'll check in with you for the eclipse tomorrow. Set your intention. What is it that you want to let go of? What is it that you want to see fully and then flush away at the south node? For me, I have a couple of points of self-sabotage. Things related to oh, being too nice. Sometimes doing the hard thing, it hurts in the short term, but it's the best thing for us in the long run. Sometimes I can lose sight of that. All right, guys. We all got something. See you tomorrow.